Okay, so let's talk a little bit about our 11th activity 2. It's very important that you guys, before you start working, you should take a look at activity 1, where you develop the card class and make sure that the card class has everything. Remember that we should have some constructor methods for the card, and we had a rank, a suit, and a point value for each card. And in this activity we will implement the deck class. Now for the deck class, we are going to use a certain amount of cards. Okay, that's going to be our deck. So the deck class represents a shuffled deck of cards. These cards are going to be shuffled, and of course we are going to need different arrays, 3 arrays. One is going to be an array of the ranks, an array of the suits, and an array of the point value of each card. Okay, and then we are going to shuffle the cards, which we will do in activity 4. But for now, we're just going to implement the deck class. So for this deck class, we are going to need a list, an array list. So in our case, we're going to have, and this comes in the starter code, okay? You don't have to worry about that. It's going to have a list of cards where we are going to add absolutely every card with the suit and the point value, okay? So we're going to fill in the card with that. And the size, which is the number of not yet dealt cards. Remember that when we start dealing the cards, our deck is going to lower. So it's important that we use an array list, because it will automatically change the physical and logical size of that array. Okay? Now, the first thing we have to do, if we go to the reading, it says, complete the implementation of the deck class by coding each of the following. And here you have to develop each method and constructors and mutators, etc. So for the first one, the deck constructor, this constructor receives 3 arrays as parameters. The arrays contain the rank, suits, and point values of each card in the deck. The constructor creates an array list and then creates the specified cards and adds them to the list. Example, you have an array with ranks A, B, C. In our case, it might be J, Q, K, and the suits says giraffes and lions. In our case, it might be clovers and spades and hearts and diamonds, and the values of each will be corresponding to each of the ranks. So the constructor would create the following cards. It will create each card with each of the values of each array. So it will have the rank, the suit, and the point value. Okay, now each card will have a suit. Okay, so for example, A giraffes 2, B giraffes 1, okay, C giraffes 6. Then it will go and do it all with the lions. So A lions 2, B lions 1, and C lions 6. So the suits, remember that they're going to be always changing. Okay, so we're going to do it with each one. You're supposed to have each card of each suit. Okay, so that's something we have to develop in our constructor method. And would add each of them to cards. The parameter size would then be set to the size of the cards, which is in the example. This example is 6. Okay, so it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. So the size should be set up for 6. Okay? Very good. Finally, the constructor should shuffle the deck, but this shuffle would be only in activity 2. So let's go back to our code and let's look at our implementation. Okay. Now the public deck class will receive the 3 arrays. Now I will also add an array list to the cards. Remember that we created a new array list, a new list called cards. Well, we initialize the array list cards. Now we create a for loop so we can have, and we can start adding all the cards to our array list. So for j equals 0 to j less than ranks.length, then what we're going to do is that this is an enhanced for loop. Remember, the enhanced for loop will create a string for each suit among all the suits, and it will add the ranks from the position 0 with the suit and then the position 0 of the value. This way I will generate 2 cards of each suit that I'm getting. Okay? Remember that I'm doing it a 4 inside a 4. So this will be done for 1 and 2 suits if I have 2 suits, or in our case 4 times. This 4 will be developed 4 times if I have 4 different suits. Okay? And 4 times the amount of cards that I have. Okay? Remember that after I add all the cards into the deck, I need to set the size of the array list to size. Okay? And finally, then I need to shuffle all those cards, which we'll be doing in activity number 4. So I think it's going to be great afterwards. But for now, we don't need to implement the shuffle. Okay? So this would be the constructor method for this. Okay? Then you are asked to develop some other methods. For example, is empty. This method should return true when the size of the deck is 0 and false otherwise. So it's very simple. Actually, we just have to say that if in is empty, if the size, return the size equal to 0. Okay? You just have to return the size when it is equal to 0. Okay? Return true when this is true. Okay? Remember that this is not an assignment operator. It is comparison. So it returns true because this statement will return true or false. It returns true or false depending on what it is. If it's not equal to 0, then it will return false. If it's equal to 0, then the array list is empty and it will turn true. Okay? So that one is very simple. The next one is also simple. We need to create the size method. And this method returns the number of cards in the deck that are left to be dealt. Okay? So every time that you deal, you should lower the size of your array list. Okay? So at this point, the method size will return the size of the array list. Okay? It will return, remember that when we assigned the size of the array list to the constructor and to the variable size, then we can just return size. So this is a very simple method in order to return the size of the array list. Now here is where you guys are going to have to work a little bit, and it means deal. It's not a big deal to return or to just take the card from the deck. Remember that you have a stack of cards, okay, upside down, being the last card, the very first one that you're going to take out of the deck. So it's very simple. So read these 2 algorithms. It is important that you implement the deal method. Okay, the deal method will just take a card and organize the size of the array. Okay, that is the important thing. Once you have completed the deck class, find the decktester.java, and this will be very important that you should do. And let me show you what it is. And the deck tester, here you need to implement it. So in here you would have to create 3. I think you have to add the main code to create 3 deck objects. So you have to create 3 deck objects and test each method of the deck object. When it says each method, it means the methods that you created. Okay, like the ones is empty, like the one to string. For example, to string, you should implement the to string method. And the to string method goes over here where it says the way that you're going to show the cards. Okay? So all the way in the bottom you have the toString method, which is already created, and you can change the format of the toString method, but it's basically how to show your array list. Okay, it says string, and it shows the size and of undealt cards and the number of undealt cards, etc. every time that you deal. Okay, so remember that when you use this method deal, you should always look at what is the rest of the array list. Okay, so that is activity number 2. It's pretty simple. Then you have to just add the ask these questions, consider the deck initialized. So you can do this if you want. How many cards does the deck contain? So in this case, you will do this before in your tester class, okay, to see what is the result. Okay, so good luck, and I hope you are able to complete activity 2 so we can head on into activity 3 and 4, which we will implement the shuffle method. Okay?